All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome to the X Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell, and for the next 2 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X Zone comes to you, like I said, Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until midnight. Right here from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on the X Zone Broadcast Network, and your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streaming at classic1220.ca. X Zone Nation, my first guest tonight is Austin MAYNARD, and let me see, Austin is the founder of an organization called the Underground Paranormal Network, a network consisting of 7 relatively unknown historic locations. That's 6 in Ohio and 1 in Kentucky. He's an equipment developer, ghost box builder, and innovation researcher. And he's with us tonight here in the X Zone. And Austin, thanks very much for joining us.
No, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Well, tell us, Austin, how did you get involved in all this?
Well, I got involved with the locations. Basically, my father grew up. I live in a town called Bryan, Ohio.
Okay.
And my dad actually was born in this town, and I was born in here. And we moved away for a while, but my dad has been a Williams County historian for 45-something years. So I grew up with him having that passion for history, and I guess I kind of followed that model in a different way, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. But so I mean, I just kind of noticed a problem, basically, that there are a lot of locations around different towns, a lot of small towns specifically, that really don't get the attention they deserve, or they don't get, like that history is just kind of being almost like hidden in a way, or like it's not being put out there. And I think that that's not fair to those locations. And so I tried to just build a network of locations that, I try to bring to the forefront, mm-hmm. but put the history out there. And it's really kind of helped these locations with remodels, rebuilds, and just general preservation efforts, so I think it's, I took it a better way, I guess, in my opinion.
I must say that, in my opinion, ghost investigators and researchers are the unsung heroes when it comes to history.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I don't know exactly. I think that there's definitely a huge importance with it because, mm-hmm. Unfortunately, money makes the world go round, you know, and I think that people in the paranormal field, they appreciate the history, the architecture, mm-hmm. things that a lot of general people would not necessarily appreciate, so it becomes a much more important piece of it.
Plus, paranormal researchers are also the people who actually dig into the research of the location where they're going to go, and they get the background history. And like I said, in my opinion, they play a very important part in it. So how long have you been doing this?
Man. I think we got our first location in 2017, which was the old Higginsport School, which was down on the Ohio-Kentucky border. Mm-hmm. We ran that for a year. I moved up north after a while, and then I saw all these locations, and I kind of ran with it. So now, 2017.
Exonation, our guest this hour is Austin Maynard. We're going to be talking about ITC and technology, experimentation, and exploration. What is ITC, and why is it important?
Well, ITC is Instrumental Transcommunication, and it's important because really, I guess the way I look at it, every radio frequencies are universal. They are. There's a wide spectrum of radio frequencies that, across the entire universe, so they exist all around us all the time. And I think that, I guess in my mind, logically, that would be something that no matter what plane of existence you're on, it's still, like, we are all in the same universe. And so I think that they would be able to tap into radio frequencies the same way that we are now able to do it. I guess that's so like when we start looking at the importance of it, I think it can lead us down paths that that many people are not really exploring. And there's a lot more to ITC than just the general EVPs or the spirit boxes.
As somebody who has been doing this a while now, how do you explain EVPs? Now, I've been in the radio TV business for well over 40 years. And, when I started way back, we had reel-to-reel tapes, and then they went to cassettes. And it was all magnetic tape. And sometimes when we didn't take the big reels and we put them over the bulk eraser, there would be what we would call ghosts. But we knew for a fact that as we were recording, these audio images were going onto the tape. And yet with EVPs, you don't hear anything only until you replay the tape. How does that work?
Well, I've looked at the frequency response and the minimum. A lot of it, I think, depends on the sample rate, and I really think that it's a matter of them imprinting their voice into the white noise or the frequency somehow.
Right.
And I think that there's a lot of things that I've seen, a lot of reason for me to believe that. But I think that that's really more or less how they do it. Now, when you look at like voice recorders, I think like the magnetic tape, especially, a magnetic tape, it just has little iron shavings or something, right? Like it's something where when it records, it has a specific pattern on the magnetic tape. But with digital, I think it's more or less they're imprinting themselves in the actual the white noise or whatever is in there.
So could we look at this as the same the same way that there are certain frequencies animals can hear and we can't? It's possible. I mean, there's a couple of different ways that you can look at it if you want to look at it that way. But I also look at it as a, because I guess there's a difference between the frequency and the like the decibel levels or the human hearing range, because the human hearing range roughly goes down to about 20 hertz, and anything below that is considered infrasound. But I don't know if that's necessarily like where we would be looking at. I think it's more or less the actual frequency, the actual radio wavelength itself. So years ago, there was a movie called White Noise. Would this be part of what ITC is?
Honestly, I believe so. I mean, ITC is really a lot of just the general looking for obvious communication within the electronic devices. But with my focus, I guess, it's all about, white noise. I think that they can manipulate white noise. When I get into it, I look at the way that recorders work, and you look at, one that's very popular is the Panasonic RRDR60. But the sample rate on that is 6.8 kilobits per second. And then normal recorders work at about 40 kilobits per second. And so I guess you look at it more or less as the difference between Legos and Mega Blocks, or Minecraft graphics versus Call of Duty graphics, right?
Yeah, I guess for our listeners, another way to look at it is during the movie Poltergeist, when the little girl is sitting in front of the screen and she's communicating with something or someone in the white noise of the television set.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And we've heard some amazing things, and like I've heard voices and like actually seen the data, like the actual wavelengths on it, when there's no possible way that should be happening. I mean, it's just amazing the discoveries that we're making, and so many more possibilities.
What was it?
That haven't even been explored yet.
What was it like the first time that you actually realized that what you were seeing was something or someone that was, number one, invisible and yet able to communicate with you?
Well, I don't know if I would consider them invisible. The more I do this, the more I question. Like, I obviously have deeper questions, but
Sure.
At the same time, I believe. I less and less believe in what the normal, what you would call the mainstream belief system that the paranormal community follows.
But that's good, because people need to think outside the box.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why I believe that there's not enough people that are doing this kind of work. And that's why I guess that's what's so important about it, is that we need to look further into different paths. And just because there's a small part of ITC that's been being worked on for decades,
Right.
there's so many more possibilities to explore.
You just have to open your mind to the possibilities and stop looking at what has been established by others as the bench test, right?
100%, yes.
All right, please stand by. You and I have to take our first break. And Exonation, our guest this hour is Austin MAYNARD. And Austin's website is?
I don't.
You've got a Facebook page, though.
Yes, we do got a Facebook page. It's I do. It's facebook.com/austin.maynard.10, or you can go to facebook.com/theugpn. That's THEUGPN.
All right, and we'll both be back on the other side of this very short break as the X Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, my special guest, Austin MAYNARD, from our broadcast center and studios here in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And the X Chronicles newspaper for April 2024 is now available with our compliments and the compliments of our advertisers at www.xchronicles.net. That's XCHRONICLES.net. ITC and technology, experimentation, and exploration is the topic this hour, the first hour of tonight's show. And we'll be back as we continue our quest, searching for answers but demanding the truth here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in St. Catharines, Ontario, on the X Zone Broadcast Network and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, streaming classic1220.ca.
Earth changes. You're cracking me up. I'm starting to hear about all sorts of weird stuff. It's the bombs, it's the comets, it's the dark days upon us, or so say the folks who all quote Nostradamus. Earth changes. Oh, prophets of doom. It sounds like disaster is your favorite tune. If it makes you feel better, get it out of your system and tell us about the next big cataclysm. Okay, the poles they will shift and volcanoes will bellow. LA's gonna disappear, New York turn to jello. There'll be tidal waves, earthquakes, fissures and crises. The earth's gonna be screaming, you can all kiss my exes goodbye, bye, bye. Earth changes. If it's like they said, then there's no use hiding out under your bed. But don't get depressed. 'cause greed will be nifty, and how's about peace? For a big polar shifty, a whole lot more love, and a big dose of patience, coming alive to the joys of creation. Earth changes, and so can we, for all of the changes are in you and me. With so much sweet love, is it really surprising? A new earth is dawning upon the horizon. Earth changes. Earth changes.
And welcome back, everyone. That is Michael Horn, who is the North American media representative for the Billy Meyer Society. And he recorded that song at least 10, 15 years ago. And it's so important that we take care of this planet, because Lord knows if we don't, no one else will. My guest this hour is Austin Maynard. His Facebook page is, just give me a second again, austin.maynard.10. So that's facebook.com, austin.maynard.10. Austin, what are some of the ideas you explore with your experimentation and builds?
Well, really, like I stated earlier, it's all about the frequencies. So I'll experiment with different types of frequencies all along the electromagnetic spectrum. So a lot of times I will mix, I'll do laser audio transmission. I'll work a lot with that because I believe that photons carry information, and so when you're able to use the wavelengths of the light to send audio across the room, and then you listen for differences in the audio from the source, recording a lot of different steps along the way, as well as, I believe a lot in resonant frequencies. So I like to shake up the environment in many different ways. But I'm also looking at, we've been looking into there's an experiment, a document that was called the Gateway Process, that was released by the Monroe Institute. And so that idea of hemisync, which is basically syncing the left and the right side of your brain, we've taken that and then actually combined it with some other aspects of like the ancient Sumerians, the ancient Babylonians, like things that they thought were important, different frequencies. Like they would build temples that resonated at certain frequencies. And so like we believe that with a combination of that kind of information, a lot of numerology, a lot of like everything with the gateway process, I think that everything we're exploring, the idea of astral projection and being able to, like, honestly, I'm looking at, can we interact from that other side in that plane of existence? Like almost imagine the movie Insidious, when they go over to the further, like that's kind of what we're trying to explore, that idea, I guess. As well as, obviously we're still working on different aspects with ITC, but there's a lot of different things that we're looking at, way too many to list off right here.
How does in the experimentation that you do, as well as other researchers, paranormal investigators, when it comes to establishing a benchmark for the EVP or the experimentation, do you take into account the Bluetooth, the 5G, the Wi-Fi, the microwaves that may be in the area, the high tension towers?
Well, I know that we have, that's one thing that we definitely look at is possible interference from different radio frequencies. Like we've found that there's a number of digital and analog recorders that will pick up AM signals. Yeah. And so like there's a lot of things that we've, like stuff like that, we've definitely tried to figure out. And so, when you find those, quote unquote anomalies, I guess, you always want to look and see if there was any radio station broadcast. You want to do your due diligence and try to find things like that. Same thing with walkie-talkies if you're, shortwave or citizen band. You really just got to be careful when you're like that. But just like anything else, it just takes a lot of due diligence and debunking and making sure that what you're actually catching is a legitimate anomaly or a legitimate sign of manipulation.
Yeah, because I recently learned that the FCC in the United States has issued over 1,700 low power FM stations now.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So let's say your local community wants an FM station. They can actually apply to the FCC and get a low power FM station.
So would that be like below the UHF and the VHF?
No, it'd be in the FM band.
Well, so yeah, I mean, I know that the UHF and the VHF are actually like kind of in the middle of FM. So like it's it'll go down FM and then it's like UHF, VHF.
But to be honest with you, I couldn't tell you.
And then there's FM on the other side of that. It's kind of weird how it works. But I mean, that's interesting.
What are some of the? I'm sorry.
That's really interesting. I wonder. Yeah, that's something that we're going to have to look at and take into consideration now.
Yeah. I'll send you the link to the FCC rulings and list of the stations and their locations if that'll be of any help to you and your researchers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We definitely want to make sure that we're. I did not know that, and that would definitely be a piece of valuable information that we need to be looking at. So thank you. I appreciate that.
I will send it to you. And you keep saying we're. Who is the we that you talk about?
Well, there's myself, J.W. Prather, who created the ITC devices, the ITC Institute, and he's actually the one that is the one that came up with the general experiment that we do.
Okay, so he works with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So part of your team.
Technically, I work with him. Like he's established the institute and the ITC devices. Like he's created the direct link, which has been used on a number of shows.
Right.
I kind of just joined up on his mission because I actually truly believe in what he's doing.
It's people working together to solve a problem.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. What are some of the limitations of our methods when it comes to investigating the EVP or the ITC frequencies?
Well, to be honest, I think that there's a lot of things that are not being explored, a lot of frequencies that are not being explored, and I would say that there's certain technologies that we really do not have the ability to we are just not there yet as a society. I believe that really when quantum computers come into play and quantum cameras, then we can start looking at really like what's going on, but I think that's really a big limitation right now. And I know that we have it's just the very, very early stages of quantum computing. But I personally think that once we're able to go with that, and be able to analyze frequencies on a whole nother level, to be able to see where exactly there's being manipulation, because you'll be looking much deeper level of the frequencies. So right now, I just think that a lot of it is the technology, as well as a lack of overall practice and research. Like, not enough people, I believe, are really looking into these. I think that too much of the paranormal community has focused in on, and I mean, a lot of them are new, and we welcome that, but we obviously want people to help further the study, right? We want to further our understanding, and at least a lot of us do, and some of us want to try to find that, what it'll take to bridge that gap. Like, what do we got to do to overcome, scientific skepticism and obstacle? And so, that's what I try to do. There's a guy by the name of Teddy Biddle that, and I appreciate him for what he does, and he is one of the biggest, he's a critic, and he is one that will try to debunk certain things or make sure that people are really getting what they're getting or seeing what they're, you know what I mean? He tries to dig into these things, and I appreciate the fact that he is the kind of guy, and as well as his colleagues, they will give me they'll tell me a lot of these obstacles, because we're not going to be able to go anywhere as a field and as a study in general. We're just going to continue to be in the same kind of stagnant place that we've been in for the last 25 years,
Yeah.
I believe, within the search of the afterlife, I guess.
Why don't you? Why is it that the scientific community isn't getting really involved with this?
I think that there is some, but I don't think that people. I believe that there is just not enough funding and not enough interest, because I think that there's things about our physical world that there's so many aspects of our physical realm that really have not been studied, and I think that they've been putting on all their focus and attention towards that kind of thing, which is understandable,
Sure.
of course, but I think there are some universities and there's definitely some people out there that are really doing work, but it's very hard with minimal funding, and I just don't know if people will, you know what I mean? It's very hard to try to sell research on the afterlife to investors or to get grants or whatever. It's really hard.
Austin, stand by. We've got to take our break at the bottom of the hour. Nixon Nation, Austin MAYNARD is our special guest. Facebook.com/Austin.Maynard.10. And we'll both be back on the other side of the short break as we continue talking about ITC, EVPs, technology, experimentation and exploration, and much more. I'm Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. You're listening to us on the X Zone Broadcast Network and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streaming at classic1220.ca.
The next big cataclysm, okay. The poles, they will shift and volcanoes will bellow. LA's gonna disappear, New York turn to jello. There'll be tidal waves, earthquakes, fissures and cracks. The earth's gonna be screaming, you can all...
Ooh, baby, do you know if that's what? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. They say in heaven, love comes first. We'll make heaven a place on earth. Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. When the night falls down, I wait for you and you come around, and the world's alive with the sound of kids on the street outside. When you walk in.
Welcome back, everyone. Austin MAYNARD is my special guest this hour. We're talking about ITC and technology, experimentation, exploration, and much more. And if you'd like to find out about Maynard, or if you'd like to contact him with some ideas, or if you have any questions, his Facebook page is facebook.com/Austin.Maynard.10. Austin, during the break, I was thinking that because we do not have the ability to catalog or to reach all the frequencies that may be out there that will possibly solve a lot of the research issues that we have now. Could the same thing be applied to our ability to see certain wavelengths, and that's why we don't see ghosts? And is it possible that our cameras aren't sophisticated enough to truly capture what's out there?
You know, I'm glad you said that, because actually a big theory of mine is, so one thing, people that look into the cosmos, right? There's this theory of dark matter and dark energy. Dark matter is what keeps the universe expanding, whereas dark matter, which, that's just kind of a vague term that they use to describe matter that doesn't interact with photons. And if it doesn't interact with photons, then that's how we won't see it. And so I question if dark matter, how much of the space between us, all around us, is how much dark matter is in that region. But even in that sense, that just means that there's things that we have not found, especially when it comes to we're still trying to look at photons, the particle, and that's why I think that quantum cameras and quantum physics is really important in all of this, because there's got to be something. How is this matter? We know that it's there, And I mean, how much of that is around us, and if it is around us, like, it kind of just makes sense. You start getting into some of this stuff, like, it does have the ability. I mean, we've only been able to detect it through gravitational lensing, but if we're able to find or invent a technology that could, in fact, detect this, and then even, go further than that with measurements and actually looking at the different part, like, that's where it's really going to be important. Like, that, I think, is where we're going to be able to really find the answers, or at least find more answers than we've ever found before.
What is your opinion of SETI and their continuing search for extraterrestrials using radio telescopes?
I mean, I think that's really one of the only ways that we're going to find them. Although, I mean, I guess I have mixed feelings about it.
Okay.
Because I think that, yeah, of course, we want to search for extraterrestrial life, but at the same time, do we really? I mean, you think about that.
Yeah.
If they're thousands of years, millions of years more advanced than us, especially because for them to get here, they would have to have the technology to be able to create and close wormholes. And wormholes are just when you bend space into like a piece of paper, it just connects 2 points way quicker. But to have that kind of technology, they have to be able to harness some kind of energy, type 1, type 2. Oh, no, what was it? That'd be a type 3 civilization, right, where it's interstellar. I guess, would they be hostile towards us? Would they, because, we don't know if they're going to be peaceful or if they're going to come with us and look at us as, possible slaves or possible, you know what I mean? We don't know their intentions, and they won't know ours. And so it's a very big standoffish kind of situation. And if that's the case, if after thousands of years of evolution, and if they've explored places before, they would probably have encountered some kind of pushback at some point, and so maybe they're, shoot first, ask questions later. We don't know.
I had Seth Shostak on the show a number of times, and one of the questions I asked him was, Seth, is it possible, like I said, you guys haven't found anything yet? After all the money, after all the time, after all the scans of frequencies and different locations of your radio telescopes, is it possible, Seth, that you're looking for frequencies that can be interpreted by humans who are a carbon-based unit? But what would happen if people on other planets and other star systems, galaxies, were like silicone-based? Would they be able to interpret or send us any of the frequencies that we could understand? Are we kind of missing the boat because we don't know who or what we're trying to listen to?
Well, I think that when you look at how far away some of these planetary systems are, at least in terms of light years, right?
Okay,
like how far does light travel in a year? And I mean, it's an astronomical amount. But even for it to take from us to the sun, it takes 8.5 minutes. And now, I mean, you look at that vast difference. I mean, some of these star systems, some of these within our own galaxy, are thousands of light years away. And so honestly, I don't even know if there was a civilization out there, and if our signal happened to somehow cross the path or come close enough to a civilized planet. I don't know if it would have gotten to them and they would have sent a signal back in our lifetime. You know what I mean? It could take 1,000 years before we would receive a signal from them back, right? It's so hard, especially when it's in all directions.
Exactly.
It's very difficult to even know if they would respond, let alone get into the frequencies. And that's a whole different, that's a deeper issue in itself.
Sure. How would we know what they were trying to communicate?
So that's another point. I mean, we don't know, because I think most people, or at least scientists on Earth, would probably base everything on binary code, because binary code is a universal. It's just numbers, it's zeros and ones.
Yeah.
And I think that a civilization, if they were anywhere, like even if they're 100 years, 1,000 years or more advanced than us, then they would still be able to interpret binary code.
We hope.
We hope, exactly, right.
Listen, what can we do as individuals to improve the trajectory of our understanding and research?
I mean, really, the way we do it is to start exploring other ideas, and I think it's opening our own minds, and not continuing to use things that we believe have worked for so long. I think that there's just not enough people that are really diving into finding new and exciting ways to do things. And the study of frequencies, I mean, not everybody has to dive into that specific thing, but I think that we are limiting ourselves when we continue to have the same practices, the same methods that have been used on television shows, and the different proximity sensors. Like, what are these sensors actually telling us? Like, we assume that it's an intelligent response, and maybe, it could exactly look like that, but, is it really telling us that that's your dead Uncle Joe?
Yeah.
Or is that, because I even question if it's the spirit of a person anymore. Like, and I don't think it's necessarily like demon. I think it could be more interdimensional, or not necessarily interdimensional, but something with a parallel existence to ours. Or like you said, that operates in a frequency that we cannot, that doesn't fall along the electromagnetic spectrum, but somehow they're able to interact with our universe.
So is this where we take tie in PSE, and is this where we tie in psychic experiences with the frequencies?
See, and that's actually where like the gateway process and the what JW calls it is the hyper realm experience, because it's basically going to a localized travel, I guess is what he calls it. But that's the kind of thing that we're looking for, is like if they have the ability, it's psychic mediums and people that can astral project at least, or travel or remote view. If they're able to do this based on, it's almost as if you're doing an artificially induced travel. Instead, because most people, when they astral project or they astral travel, they're usually asleep in their dreams. But doing it in a specific location, set up in a specific way, and I think that they can help guide us, or help us along that other side specifically. But I mean, there's still just so much more that would tie into it, and I think that all options need to be considered. Like, I don't believe that there's anything that could really be off the table with regards to this research and experimentation. We just have to see. It's all about data. Everything is about data. We have to be able to come really hard. Like, a lot of the evidence that we as a field present, we will, it's a lot of generic pieces of evidence, orbs and EVPs, and I mean, that's great, and I know people get excited about that, and I remember being excited about it as a newbie in the field. But I guess, or I don't know. I guess I've looked a little bit deeper into it. I wasn't content with it, and unless we are, diving deeper into these things, like it's just not gonna go anywhere.
When we come back, I'd like to ask you a few questions about orbs, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, please stand by. And X-Zone Nation, our guest this hour is Austin McConnell. His Facebook page is facebook.com/Austin. That's AUSTIN .MAYNARD, MAYNARD .10. Facebook.com/Austin .MAYNARD .10. And Austin and I will be back as we wrap up this very first hour here in the X-Zone from our Broadcast Center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. Don't forget, the X Chronicles newspaper is now available for one and all at xchronicles.net. It's free, 92 full pages, and I don't mean little 8.5 by 11 pages. We're talking about full newspaper size, 17 by 11. And you read it right online. There's no cost. All we want you to do is enjoy it and pass it on to one of your friends. The link, it's very simple. xchronicles.net. I'm Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and coming to you from our broadcast center in St. Catharines, Ontario. And you're listening to us on your hometown radio, Classic 1220 and classic1220.ca. Welcome back, everyone. That was Charlene, I've Never Been to Me, one of my favorite songs. My guest this hour is Austin MAYNARD, and once again, his Facebook page is facebook.com/Austin.Maynard.10. First of all, Austin, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on all the great work that you and the other people in your team and that you're working with are doing to try and bring scientific value, scientific strength, and, taking the data and trying to work it as a scientific way that once and for all, maybe with the advent of quantum computers and quantum physics and everything else, that we may get a little closer to understanding not only this world that we live in, that we see and hear, but the ones that we don't. So thanks very much.
No, I appreciate that, and I really do appreciate the kind words, but there's still a lot of work to be done. The mission's not over yet, so I'd say hold off on the congratulations.
Well,
I don't feel like we've succeeded enough yet.
But you know what? But you're doing it. You're doing it. You're not sitting in an armchair, scrolling the internet. You're actually out there doing it. So that's what the congratulations is for, my friend.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate that.
You were talking about orbs just before we went to our last break. What is your interpretation of what an orb is, and how would you explain it?
Well, my interpretation of an orb, honestly, I'm not a big believer in. Well, I guess I should state it like this: I don't necessarily look at orbs, and I haven't for a very long time, because I really do not believe that orbs are. It's kind of what I was saying earlier. They're very long time old. It's an old school. It's an old favorite of people that are heavy into the belief and heavy. But I don't. It's so hard to distinguish between, especially when you're talking about videos or photos. It's so hard to distinguish between a piece of dust reflecting in the lens, or sometimes a bug. And what would actually be a spirit orb or spirit ball of energy, or whatever you want to call it. And not to say that there isn't balls of energy, because a lot of people say they see them with their own eyes, and I definitely don't want to take away from anybody's experiences.
Sure.
But as far as trying to present it to, accredited places, the scientific community, I think it's a waste of time, because I know that, and I say that because in their minds, it would be a waste of time to bring that to them as evidence of the afterlife. And so I've tried to look at things way deeper to try to see what we got to do.
With all the work that you're doing, where do you think AI will play a role?
Well, it can be good and bad, obviously, because I think that now that we're getting into the age of AI, and I know that it's still early, but as we grow, it's going to become harder and harder and harder to be able to tell the difference, or to be able to know what's a real video and what's fake. And I think that that's going to be a really bad thing. But at the same time, it could be a good thing in the sense of we're opening up a new doorway that people are going to have to, maybe people will realize that a video or a photo or one audio clip or something is just not enough. And so hopefully that will inspire people to, do a little deeper work, or like work a little harder to really try to figure out where we need to look or where we need to go,
Austin, what is Deathwalker, and what is your role on the show?
Well, Deathwalker is a show created by Nick Groff, the former, the creator of Ghost Adventures and former host of Ghost of Shepherdstown, as well as Paranormal Lockdown. And so he created this show kind of as a new way to look at the other side. They try to experiment with the big questions that we have about the paranormal. And they brought me on because I think that there was just not enough experimentation being done. And so I am the paranormal tech manager for the show. Basically, I'm the one that will go in and set up, or give Nick specific devices to use to try to figure it out. And so a lot of the things almost everything that you see on the show is something that is not typically used on other shows.
What are some of the experiments that you've conducted on Deathwalker?
Well, obviously one of the big ones was doing the Hyper Realm experiment with Nick and Tessa, which was, just unbelievable. We did it at an old asylum, and their stories matched up so well. It was just amazing. But, I also look at, one of the things I did was, the old speaking spells. Right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I've figured out how to, circuit bend those and then use that audio. Obviously I can add effects to it. I can add all kinds of different things to the audio itself. But using that and then running it through a custom-made echo, a big spring reverb tank, sorry. This thing is probably 3 foot long by 6 inches by 6 inches kind of thing, all copper. It's beautiful. And then I run that through a PA speaker and blast it down the hallways of different floors of a building, right? And one of the reasons I believe in that is because I did it once using a CB radio. I put it on a dead station, and I ran it through this reverb thing and blasted it through the PA. And I realized that the resonant, having those frequencies blast and resonate in the hallways kind of makes it a big reverb tank in itself. And I believe that, if there's energy or there's things that are soaked into the walls or the stone or whatever, the floorboards, maybe vibrating, putting the vibrations in the atmosphere to try to shake up those things. I think it's really helpful, especially when I guess the one of the times that I did it was really what sold me on it. We were able to hear a woman calling for her dog, almost we don't know if it was her calling for the dog. We definitely heard a dog barking in a place that there's nothing around for miles. Miles, there's nothing. And we also heard whistling. We heard a woman singing. There was just a number of things that we were hearing in the resonant audio, just like the resonance. We could feel it. It's one of those things where you feel it in your chest, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, when you get that big bass bump.
Oh yeah, it's intense. It's an intense feeling, but adding in the audio portion of it too, and hoping that they can manipulate the audio frequencies, because again, I do believe that it's really more or less they can view it as Lincoln Logs, or being able to piece together what they
Right.
want to do, because I don't necessarily believe that time and space are relevant the same way that they are to us.
What's the IDC Institute?
Well, the IDC Institute was created by J.W. Prather,
Right.
and basically it's all about the study of the gateway experiments. Really, it's the hyper realm, or what he calls Project WorldGate, is really where. So there's different aspects of it, and it's really all about the study of these experiments. And he has different aspects of the experiments, even including one that's what he calls the peregrine experience, which is essentially creating hemisync and then guiding somebody to be able to travel wherever they want. And based on experiences and testimonies of the people that what he calls takes the ride, they were able to see things and experience things that there was no way they could have known unless they saw it. Like, for instance, one of the participants claimed that he was able to see his sister in her apartment in California.
So we're talking
when-
we're talking about time travel.
I mean, theoretically,
Yeah.
but not in the sense that most people would consider.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
It's like you're going in a machine or anything. It's more just all in your, basically all about the brain and everything like that. I think that there's more to it. We believe that photons are a big part of it, but it could get really deep and a long explanation for that.
Listen, Austin, our time together tonight is very limited. I've got about another 2 minutes. What I'd like to do, give you an opportunity for 1 minute to tell the X-Zone Nation, or to share your thoughts with the X-Zone Nation.
Well, I appreciate everybody listening, and I appreciate you having me on, of course, but I just want everybody to keep exploring. You guys try to keep an open mind about everything. Obviously, do your due diligence on things, but you want to look at all different aspects of what you're getting. Corroborating evidence will be big. You want to have multiple pieces of data to show, instead of just coming with one piece of data. And that's going to be very, very important, especially when we're trying to push the scientific community to at least start looking at what we're doing.
Austin, I can't thank you enough for joining us. And if there's anybody that you know, Austin, who would like to come on with us and to share their ideas with the world, just like you did tonight, please let me know.
Oh, absolutely.
Austin Maynard has been my guest this hour. His Facebook page is facebook.com/austin.maynard.10. That's it for this hour, X-Zone Nation. I will be back on the other side of this very short bunch of messages as we continue hour number 2 of tonight's show, right here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario. And you're listening to us on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streaming classic1220.ca. Don't forget, the X-Chronicles newspaper is available for one and all, with our compliments and those of our advertisers at xchronicles.net. And don't forget, for all the great programming that we produce on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, once again, all free, no charge, no gimmicks, no cons, www.xzbn.net. I'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Preacher